Before you can become a video journalist, you first need to know how to work with video. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you some of the basics of video, including working with a camera, working with sound, some basic cinematography techniques, and lighting tips. The first thing you'll need to do is purchase your equipment, and the most important piece of equipment is the camera. Make sure your camera is capable of shooting digital video, not just pictures. Most modern digital video cameras are capable of shooting high-quality HD video, but if you're just starting out, you shouldn't need to worry that much about video quality. Instead, there are a couple of key factors that you should look for in picking your camera. The most important thing to keep in mind is that if you want higher quality videos, you'll need to get a standalone camera instead of using the one that comes with your phone. While phone cameras have been steadily increasing in video quality, they lack good microphones and options for tweaking your recording settings, something that only a standalone video camera can provide. To store all the video that you'll be shooting, you're going to need a substantial amount of memory, especially if you're shooting in HD. The more memory that your camera has, the longer you'll be able to shoot. Video camera memory is measured in gigabytes, often abbreviated as GB. You're probably wondering how much shooting time a gigabyte gives you. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Depending on the manufacturer of the camera, the software they're using, their recording format, etc., the amount of time you can shoot per gigabyte varies from camera to camera. Check the box of the camera or the manual online for more information on this. A good rule of thumb, however, is that a gigabyte should, at the very least, provide 1 hour of filming. I'd recommend going with 16 gigabytes of memory just to be safe. Another thing you need to check when you're buying your camera is if the memory is built in or not. Some cameras come with memory pre-installed. Some require you to insert a memory card before you can film anything. Some cameras have options for both. Although it would seem like you're getting the better deal with a camera that comes with memory built in, memory cards are useful because you can always upgrade them or buy more. You can literally never run out of space on your camera, just swap it out when it's full. I'd recommend buying a camera with a memory card slot and 2 memory cards so that you'll always be ready to shoot if the need arises. The second thing you should look for in a camera is a microphone in port, often abbreviated as mic in or just mic. On consumer level cameras, it's a small port that looks like a headphone jack. This allows you to attach an external microphone to your camera and record sound. You'll need to make sure that you switch your camera's settings to use the mic in jack if you're using an external microphone. This varies from camera to camera. You don't need a mic in jack and an external microphone in order to record sound. All cameras come with an internal microphone, which for home videos is completely suitable. For reporting, however, you often want higher quality sound, and external microphones generally tend to have higher quality sound than internal microphones. You can also aim them in different directions and move them closer to the subject without necessarily moving the camera. When choosing your camera, check the box or the online manual to see if your camera has a mic in jack. This brings us to our next topic, sound. It's very important to have high-quality sound when recording a subject, especially when dialogue is involved. It's much harder to understand somebody talking like this than it is to understand somebody talking like this. That's why it's important to buy an external microphone for your camera. But what kind of external microphone do you need? Well, although there are many different types, as a beginner you only need a few specific features. You'll want your microphone to have some sort of a windscreen. This protects against, you guessed it, wind, which can create some very distracting noises. Some windscreens are built into the microphone. Others can be slipped on. If you ever see a foam covering on a microphone, you're looking at a windscreen. You'll also want your microphone to connect via a 1/4-inch plug, the same type of plug that you'd find on the end of your headphones. This will plug into your mic in jack. You'll need to make sure to configure your camera to use the external microphone. Check the camera's instruction manual for more details. If your microphone has an XLR plug instead of a 1/4-inch one, you'll need to buy the appropriate adapter. You'll also need one other piece of equipment to round out your arsenal, a tripod. Tripods are incredibly useful for providing stable video shots. Despite camera makers building more stabilizing technology into their cameras, nothing looks better than a video shot on a tripod. Shaky video distracts your viewer from what you're trying to show them. It's the difference between this and this. Always try to use a tripod whenever possible. Now that you have your equipment, you're ready to learn some basics about cinematography. Cinematography refers to the development of camera work and on-screen images. There are several different things that you should keep in mind when you're shooting to make sure that your shots look great. There are three basic types of shots that you need to concern yourself with: a long shot, a medium shot, and a close-up. The names of these shot types refer to how much of the subject is included in the frame. The long shot includes the subject's entire body, the medium shot includes most of the body, usually from around the waist up, and the close-up focuses on the face and upper chest. Generally, you'll be using a close-up for interviews or to focus on something important, and medium or long shots for everything else. Shots in which the camera does not move are called static shots. Moving the camera left or right is called panning. Moving the camera up or down is called tilting. You can also zoom in on your subject using the zoom button on your camera. Panning and tilting can be a great way to spice up your story and convey important information that cannot fit in a static shot. Just be sure to use a tripod. Some cameras also offer you the ability to adjust the focus manually. Most cameras, however, now do this automatically, and many entry-level cameras do not even offer the ability to adjust settings like these manually. Automatic features can be useful to beginners who don't know what they're doing, although they can be frustrating to experts who want to adjust the video in a specific way but can't. Each shot, each continuous piece of video that you see, has its own unique composition of distinct visual elements, including objects within the frame as well as the frame itself. The composition of a shot will vary depending on the effect you want to have, but there are a few key things to keep in mind. Make sure your subject is contained within the frame. Don't let them be cut off by the edges. Don't have extraneous space, but at the same time, don't crowd your shot with too many unnecessary details. A good rule of thumb is the rule of thirds, which states that you should position important information 1/3 of the way from the edge of the frame. Position the subject on the opposite side that the action is taking place. For instance, if your subject is walking left, position him on the right side of the frame. If he is talking to the right, position him on the left. When shooting, it is important to make sure that your subject is well lit, especially at night. Without enough exposure to light, your video may look grainy and hard to see. For video journalists, this can be an especially tricky problem, since they have to use whatever light is available. Just keep in mind when filming that you'll want to shoot your subjects and interviewees in the best possible light in order to make sure that the footage comes out alright. Natural light, whenever possible, is preferable to artificial light, but if you're filming at night, you may not have much of a choice. You may want to invest in a camera-mounted light to illuminate your subject when there's not enough natural light around. When recording sound, make sure you follow a few simple steps. If possible, do a test recording before filming to make sure that the microphone is working properly. If you record and the audio is off, there's no way to fix it later. Point the microphone directly at the source of the sound to capture the best quality recording. When speaking into a microphone, don't hold it directly up to your mouth. Hold it at chest level. The microphone will still be able to pick you up, and it prevents you from speaking too loud or blowing air into the microphone. Unless you're interviewing someone, make sure your microphone is outside of the shot. A misplaced microphone can make your footage look very unprofessional. Once you're finished shooting, you'll need to edit your clips together on your computer. Although news editing has a simpler set of rules than film, teaching editing is beyond the scope of this video. If you don't know how to edit and want to learn more, search online for tutorials on existing video editing software. You can also watch professional news broadcasts and study how the clips are edited together for more information on editing style and techniques. News editing has a very specific style, and it is important to learn if you want your stories to look good. For Windows users, you can use software such as Windows Movie Maker, Adobe Premiere, and Avid Media Composer. Mac users can also use Adobe Premiere and Avid Media Composer, as well as iMovie and Final Cut Pro. This concludes the tutorial on basic filming techniques. In the next video, I'll show you some film techniques that are used specifically within the context of video journalism.